What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another new episode of the Last Wave Podcast. If you're new here, we deal with topics like UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, conspiracies, the occult, pretty much everything in, on, or under the paranormal umbrella. I'm joined today by my co-host, Buster.
What's up, y'all?
We've got a super fun episode. If you've listened to the last one, you'll know we really couldn't wait to get into this one. This episode, we're going to go over things like synchronicities, Dejavu, and what I call shelf elves.
Shelf elves.
Shelf elves. I can't claim that. I heard that on another podcast, but I loved it so much that's what I'm going to say. We're also going to go over, and I can call this, I guess, the Awakening Part 2. I already did an Awakening Part 1 episode by myself, but we could definitely talk about it because that's kind of what we're going to go over today. But this for sure is very interesting. Synchronicities. If you've ever studied the occult or the paranormal, there's one thing that tends to happen. You will find things that coincide with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a weird piece of research that just happens to come in at just the right time.
Threads
of
destiny.
The threads of destiny will start to pull together, and some people think that's a very bad thing. I know with I was actually just listening to a different podcast this past weekend, and they say that people that get into like Bigfoot research and stuff like that are they keep going until it just drains it from them.
Say no, these threads of destiny are it's the timeline that we were meant to find.
Yep.
And ultimately that's going to lead us to where we're meant to be. And the synchronicity of the fact that it's all connected, and you know it is.
Yes.
But without knowing, you know it is. It's
right.
You know what I mean?
I mean that's pretty much it. Like that's what I was talking about when I was doing the first episode of The Awakening. Is there's something, and we've talked about it before, like an inner truth.
Mm-hmm.
Like when there's something that you just know it's true. Like I think that comes with awakening and changing your spirit and your energy level.
And that that's a part of our DNA. And they say through these generations you can get these generational traits that are passed down through a DNA genetic level.
Mm-hmm. And they say that's why we have that term nowadays called generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to break those, and that's never been a term before. No one's really worried about their past life or past their ancestors wrongdoings.
Right. What do they say? One should not suffer for the sins of the father.
Yes, precisely. So it seems like there's something going on in society where we are starting to pick up on these things. We have it even on social media now. Social media is not quite as bad as it was a few years ago, where we have people on TikTok where they're doing tarot card readings and oracle card pulls, and they're talking about this ancient knowledge. And again, I'm sure we've gone over this and mentioned it before. The things that we used to be hush hush about, you can now talk about.
Right.
We can have this podcast about spirituality and human evolution and consciousness and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool that we can do that. But again, we've talked about that before. So this one, we're going to go more synchronicities and Dejavu.
Like the Dejavu.
Yeah, and now we've talked about Dejavu. I know the last 2 weeks we've probably had incidents because we were having a conversation and I texted you and another friend of ours, like, I'm pretty sure we've had this exact conversation before. It was something about October.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
October.
Yeah, like
I mentioned October.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's something about October. There's always something happening in October.
Yeah, but I feel like October is always happening. Like I feel like we've heard that either every year, but then again, it was like a deja vu. Like we've had this before. We've had this conversation. Something's coming. Something's going to be bad. And that could be social engineering as well. But it just seems like I had deja vu with another friend of mine, like that same week, and it's these between you and our other research buddy that does a lot of stuff, we kept, telling each other the same thing. I mean, have we not the last couple of weeks? We're like, oh yeah, I was just looking at that. Oh yeah, I just happened to see that. I mean, we've been going back and forth for at least the last week with different stuff.
It's all connected somehow.
It does.
Threads of destiny, man.
Yes, the weird, the well. It's all tangled. A tangled web we weave. But one cool thing, and I posted this on some part of social media, but one cool synchronicity that happened to me recently was I was just hanging out in my room, nothing special, and I just happened to look at a book on a shelf. And this is what I call a shelf elf moment. A shelf elf moment is when a piece of research, a book, some kind of picture, anything like that just happens to either catch your eye, falls in your lap, comes out of nowhere. It's something is nudging you to research that.
How weird would that be if that was like a cryptid influence?
It could be like a fairy influence,
like
or
just
it
like
could
a
be
little,
something,
and
yeah,
like just
like
fade out.
Yep, it could be, and who's to say it's not like a spiritual guide or something along those lines? You don't know.
These breadcrumbs.
Yeah, they're literally just laying breadcrumbs. So my problem, I collect a few things. One of them is random books. And again, this book, I have no idea where I got it. I've probably had it for years. It was on a shelf. It was probably a little dusty. I'm not ashamed of it. But I see this book out of nowhere, and I just dead eye look straight at it. And it's called The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. And I think it's a fairly older book. And this is just within this week that this happened. So I started looking at this book, and it's framed as a story. But what it's about is this manuscript that these people find in Peru. And I'm just going to read you this little part on the top here. In the rainforest of Peru, an ancient manuscript has been discovered. Within its pages are 9 key insights into life itself. Insights each human being is predicted to grasp sequentially, one insight, then another, as we move toward a complete spiritual culture on Earth. Now, this is exactly what I've been talking about, which is kind of weird because I've never read this book. It was just been on my shelf. I haven't read half the books I own probably, but it was on my shelf, and I picked it up, and that's what it said, which is ironic because I just did the Awakening episode, part 1. And then we've had the Dejavu, we've had the discussions this past week, and then I see this. So, again, this book is framed as a story, but, like, the stuff that it says is very interesting. It's like, this is a lady talking about a priest that in Peru that showed her this manuscript, and she goes, he told me the manuscript says the number of people who are conscious of such coincidences would begin to grow dramatically in the 6th decade of the 20th century, which would be the 1960s. So that's when the whole
that was the
hippie,
the consciousness movement.
Yeah, the consciousness movement. Okay, he said that this growth would continue until somewhere near the beginning of the following century, which is right now. So that's where we're past the beginning. Now this book, mind you, this edition, I don't know if it was older than that, but this edition is 1993. Mm-hmm. Nothing, it's plenty old to have no clue what's actually happening right now as we're talking about these things. Mm-hmm. But again, he said that this growth would continue until somewhere near the beginning of the following century when we would reach a specific level of such individuals, a level I think of as a critical mass. The manuscript predicts, she went on, that once we reach this critical mass, the entire culture will begin to take these coincidental experiences more seriously. We will wonder en masse what mysterious processes underlie human life on this planet. And it will be this question asked at the same time by enough people that will allow the other insights to also come into consciousness. Because according to the manuscript, when a sufficient number of individuals seriously question what's going on in life, we will begin to find out, and the other insights will be revealed one after the other.
Like a flame, everyone's a candle, and eventually, once you get to a certain level of that flame, it catches everything on fire.
That's right.
Fire, flame,
Prometheus, enlightenment.
Yes.
We stole it. We're going to be enlightened. So, again, this is 1993. Okay. What's also ironic, and another synchronicity, is this is almost exactly what Dr. Stephen Greer says, who is the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind guy.
Yeah.
He talks about if we all just are on this meditative level, then it takes 1% of us to change the whole other chemical compound of the other consciousness on Earth. So,
like the collective can begin to collectively alter its own anatomy.
yes, as a whole consciousness. So, and I haven't read even a fourth of this book. I probably read chapter 1, maybe 1.5. But another part says, I thought for a moment. Now, this priest, this manuscript, whatever, predicts a time of great restlessness for people, and
I feel like that's where we're at now.
that's exactly where we're at.
I felt so restless, and uneasy this past couple months, really.
Yeah, and it's growing, and you see that again, that change. It's like it even says it in here somewhere. It's like it'll feel weird. It will feel like restlessness, but also feel like we should be greater than we are. There's one part in here. It's, I thought for a moment, does it make sense? Is everyone as restless as me? And if so, does our restlessness result from the simple insight, the simple awareness built up for these past years, that there is really more to life than we know, more that we can experience?
I mean, there's more to life than go to work, come home, repeat.
Yes.
There is more to that. I think that's the construct that is meant to keep us enslaved to the idea that we are able to find this 9 principles.
Yeah,
manuscript.
These essential living principles, and I think that holds a lot in that. And again, that's about as far as I'm on. That's only like the first chapter of the book. I haven't even really breached this craziness, so I may have to do an Awakening Part 3 just on this book. But I just found it incredibly interesting that, again, as a synchronicity, that just came out of nowhere. Right in line with how everyone's feeling, right in line with what I was already researching. I mean, it's just...
That's pretty sync, man.
It could have been any other book. I could have seen... I mean, you look around. Other people can't see. Look at all these freaking books. I could have randomly caught any other book. I probably have 200 books in this house. Randomly caught any one of them. I caught that one at this exact moment in time.
Yes.
I mean...
The parallels are uncanny.
Yeah, it would be at least a 1 in 200 chance, But anyway, so moving on to a slightly different topic as far as the awakening. Do you think we can reach that 1%, that critical mass?
Do I think?
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. I believe we can.
In a quantum universe, we generate our own reality. So what we think becomes. So if everyone is focusing on the same outcome, then we can reach this critical mass.
Yeah, I think we can. I think that's the point. Is we've got to get not even everyone, just that amount of people focusing on that good goal.
Yeah, and I think that the counter effort to that is this brainwashing method known as the media.
Right.
That's the counter to the collective being raised in awareness to this critical mass.
That's true. And I mean, that is also, I think, is part of the restlessness, because we feel like we're we're not living.
Yeah.
We're just living through events.
You're just constantly experiencing this antithesis of thought.
Yeah, we're constantly experiencing what's happening, and it's forced us to be more in the moment, but it's also forced us to worry about the immediate future.
Right.
And I read that, or I read or heard that somewhere within this past week, and it kind of touched base with me because it was talking about like ADHD and stuff like that is so prevalent nowadays, and that's what people feel. They feel that their immediate future is what they have to focus on.
Yeah,
they're not focused on
that gets
5-10 years down the road.
That gets into the levels of the brain, and they say if you're kept in that close proximity of now, then you're unable to focus on the future.
Yeah.
And being caught in that close proximity, you're like stuck in the mammalian brain, and that state of fear is
you're
constantly keeping. That's the reptilian brain. So if they keep you in the mammal brain, you're still bound by emotions, instinct, versus just yay or nay.
Yeah.
But if they keep you in that state of fear, then you can stay in them lower levels.
Stay simple.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's social constructs and social engineering. Look at the term paycheck to paycheck. That's exactly what that does. It breeds that. Oh crap! I can't worry about 5 years from now. I got to worry about next week. I got to worry about Wednesday.
Living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
That's
we have all these
slavery.
terms. Yeah, it is. It really is. And we just are focused on that, and it keeps us, like you said, in that zone to where we can't go forward. But we've also kind of bred a generation of people that want things quickly. They don't understand that it takes 5 years of work to get something. It takes 10 years of work. So if I'm not rich by next week, I'm upset kind of people,
Yeah,
which I can understand because I feel that way too. Shoot, like and subscribe.
It still blows my mind. Like you say, people live paycheck to paycheck. So say people that are concentrated on worrying about having that money is like, and they're literally like pimping out their jail cell.
We're on the hook when you're at that.
And I believe when they say come out of her, talking about Babylon.
Yeah. We need to leave.
And it's our chains.
Yeah.
We keep ourselves in our jail cell.
I believe that's probably true.
That's the hardest thing you'll ever accept is the fact that we are prisoners of our own design.
Yeah. That's true. It's all about how you equate happiness. If happiness is, 2 Lambos, cool. If happiness is, taking some time away from high level work to raise your kids, cool. That whatever you equate as happiness is what you should follow. And that's why I was talking about at the end of the last episode. It's such a personal experience, but it's hard to accept that other people are having personal experiences. Like, we use the term NPCs jokingly, but are some of these people even real? And it's hard for a person to accept that the other people are all having incredibly intimate lives,
Right.
So I don't know. It's a tough time for a lot of people, but it is an individual experience, but it's also a consciousness of everyone as a whole. So
what if the alleged 144,000 were the ones that were actually sentient souls, and then all the rest of them are just these
husks.
Soulless avatars that are here merely to keep things rolling?
I think that's possible. That's certainly possible.
Remember in the Matrix, it was symbolized by the agents.
Yeah. The control.
They were there just to keep everybody
in,
keep the game rolling.
Right. I think it's possible. I mean, obviously, that's a topic that's been going around for a while. Is do we live in a simulation? And I think it would almost be worse for us. I mean, in a lot of ways, if we did, because then we can't level up.
Because
So
we're caught in a loop.
yeah, we're in the game. That's why whenever you do weird things like with DMT or meditation or like with scrying and stuff like that, when you break the code, that's why your things react weird.
The breakthrough.
Yeah, you get to the other side of the wall where there is no code and you're jumbled up and you're somewhere you're not supposed to be. So if we live in a simulation, that's almost way worse than anything else. Because we would have a much more difficult time breaking that cycle. Never thought about it like that. Because I mean, then we would literally be programmed to be in the cycle, and you might have some player characters like Keanu Reeves.
I know, but we got to be able to glitch the game to be able to be the glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, yeah. You got to literally, like that's what I was saying with the scrying. Why I think it works is because, and you can do it with what's a psychomantium, I think is the word, where it's like Black Mirror in front of you and a mirror behind you, and it's the act of seeing something that you're not supposed to see,
like the back of your head.
Right. You shouldn't. It's that. By doing that, you're breaking the natural code of law, and by doing that, you can reach into that other side and see what's there. That's how I think all that shit actually works.
Like you say, clipping into a wall.
Yes, if you ever played a game like a wrestling game, Lord knows they're bad about it. But if you clip into a wall and your body just starts like glitching out, that's what happens. I 100% believe that is what happens when you meditate or you.
So that's the game within a game within a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mirror within a mirror within a mirror. The illusion, the illusion, the illusion.
Yep. It is all that and all of the above.
Inception.
It is Inception. So if we live in a simulation, that would suck. But that also lends credence to what happens when we do things that break the code.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of, simulation works for currently, and simulation works for 2,000 years ago. You know, people were tripping off DMT, seeing weird stuff. You know, Moses talked to God allegedly, or talked to, the God of the Old Testament through a burning bush, which was a acacia tree, which has high DMT in it. So I mean.
And what was that not allegedly Enlil?
It could have been. It could have been any of those freaking war death gods or whatever they had over there at that time. There was like 50 gods at that point, so it could have been any of them.
Then that gets back into the Anunnaki and shit, but
That's another episode. But so as far as the awakening, let's circle it back, and I'm gonna talk about the solar flares. You know, I've been big on those.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I keep taking screenshots, bro. Every other day it's a new article.
You need to start printing them out and posting them on the wall like a madman.
Dude, I'm almost to that point, bro. Like I'm gonna give me a cork board.
You're gonna have a bunch of strings.
Yes. I'm gonna have pins and strings, bro. I just watch. We're gonna do this live on the recording.
I love it, man.
Let me see. All right, I'm gonna swipe. Yeah, let's see if I can find one. Watch this be the one day.
And they're trolling, man.
They're trolling me because I was talking. I swear, there's not even one.
I was gonna adjustment bureau you.
They did. They came in and stopped it real quick. But yes, there has been a lot. So I got two schools of thought on these damn solar flares. One, something's happening, and it's going to probably destroy us. Number two, some kind of energy thing is happening, and it's what's going to make us evolve.
Yes.
Which makes sense, kind of. Number three, all of these stories of these things are false, and it is. And I've seen another guy that we watch, Archaics. Shout out,
Archaics.
Good YouTube channel, Archaics.
Archaics.
Very good. A lot of good info, but he has a prediction from his isometric predictions or whatever that this exactly what's happening with the solar flares and stuff. But the solar flares are a social engineering. Well, he didn't say that, but that's my term. They're social engineering so everyone can get used to seeing that, and then they're going to use that as a shutdown.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the internet, and the cable, and the power.
Oh, the flares did it.
Oh, the flares did it. Damn. And then when it comes up a couple days to a week later and everything comes back online, it will only be those channels or those stations that were lucky enough to be offline or hardened, so to be government programming, government selected internet websites. You'll have to get a thing because all of our data will be erased. You'll have to get like your own emergency ID, and you'll get credits or whatever to buy groceries because the banking will be gone.
Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is in 1 week how they can reset everything. And if you want to eat, you got to get your pass. If you want to do this, you got to get your thing. I mean, that's all it takes. And then they'll like, oh, the flares did it. That's all it'll take. One switch, 1 day, and a week later, it's that easy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much the 3 options. The other 2 are pretty bad, but let's hope the solar flares are actually happening and it's actually an energy thing, and it'll help us awaken.
And I've heard that the sun is actually a portal.
It's a lot of energy.
Yeah. So that's a
do
portal.
Yeah.
I guess, like, remember, the only way to ascend is through the sun?
Well, yeah, the only way to heaven is through the sun. I mean, that would be mind-blowing.
Is that not crazy?
That's a little bit. Well, so here's what irritates me about the sun. And, like, it was, God, what was it? It was like July something of this year was the furthest, Earth was the furthest away from the sun that it is for that year, or that it ever has been, or some shit like that. So in the middle of summer is the furthest away from the sun.
And that was hot as fuck?
Yes, it was extremely hot. How is that possible if it's heat related?
How, yeah.
I don't know, and I've heard the theory before that it's actually electromagnetic, and it's that type of energy. Yeah, it's plasma style energy, which makes more sense. This is why it affects our plasma fields and our outer atmosphere, but it's not heat related.
Okay, Ra.
Yeah, the sun god. Yes,
sun god Ra. Amun Ra.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
In the Da Vinci Code, Jesus is what?
The sun?
The sun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, there is that theory that, and Jordan Maxwell has that theory too, that...
and they're all like the same entities, but just like in parallels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that he literally says that, like, Jesus is the sun. He's God's son.
Yeah.
He is the life bringer.
Son, the U, and the O are interchangeable.
Right. And he talks about... he is the bringer of light. He gives you life. Apparently, when Jesus died and was resurrected, matches celestial movements of the sun around Easter or something like that, or around Christmas. I can't remember.
Okay, let me blow your mind.
Okay.
So, Jesus, or the sun, the organic sun, and what was the Antichrist rises, the artificial sun.
Like the one they just did in China a couple years or a year ago.
The artificial sun, the artificial light.
I mean,
the symbolisms are like so close.
I do love some good symbolism.
I mean, I don't.
That certainly could be.
They're gonna kick down the door any minute. Man, I'm telling you, bro.
People, we're just trying to awaken.
Speculation station.
We're just trying to be enlightened. Is all we're trying to do here.
But think about how have the symbolic literalism in those statements.
It is. I mean, that's the and I swear, I think there's, they had all those shows like mid 2000s about the Bible code or whatever, and I think it's something else. I think there's a lot of metaphors there, and I think it's like some hidden knowledge, like that once you find out how to either piece it together correctly, you'll unlock the truth or something like that. Like, I think there's more to the Bible. Because, again, there's nothing stopping me right now from writing my own, from starting a Bible with a whole new story. And then someone reads it.
Is this on topic?
Yeah, it's Awakening. Yeah, we're good. We're
good.
fine.
I was just making sure. I was about to get deep, man.
We get, well, because it's all, we're talking about the awakening, the spiritual evolution of humanity. So you'd have to go from religion to spirituality and back and forth. So we're on topic. We're fine. We're only at 30 minutes.
Oh, we're good, man.
Yeah, we're good. But yeah, I love that, the topic, because again, the acacia wood, when Moses spoke to God through a burning bush, it was acacia wood, which has DMT in it. And the freaking, the Ark of the Covenant, the box was originally constructed out of acacia wood. And so you have that DMT, and then within that DMT is where you would contact God. The DMT is also in the mind, so
Jewish mysticism.
And
that picture right there had always intrigued me. And we were talking about clipping, and breaking the code. This right here is like the confines of the structure.
Yeah,
and then this is outside of the code.
Look at that. Screenshot that and send it to me. I'll post it to Facebook. That's ironic. Yeah, Buster just came up with a picture of like old Jewish mysticism picture.
Yeah,
random
from the Kabbalah.
Oh, the Kabbalah. Yeah. So
Kabbalah.
It was this guy that is like reaching out. He looks like a wizard or a scholar or something. He's reaching out of the firmament, and it looks like he's clipping through a wall in a video game. That's literally what it looks like. So screenshot that and send it to me. I'll post it on our Facebook page. But yes, spiritual awakening. Now, I've seen some crazy stuff lately. I've seen this lady on Facebook Reels, and she's doing like Reiki healing, and she's like moving these people around by like doing this. Like I'm moving like my hands right now. Nobody can see that, but she's doing like she's just moving her hands around them like she's pulling threads off of these people, and they're in like ecstasy. It's crazy. Like, imagine like you're like laying down like you're getting a massage, and this lady's going behind you like down your spine, acting like she's like pulling threads off of you. Which I'm a fan of, because if you do that, I think there's a form of meditation where you can cut cut cords. I take it more literally, where you're basically severing anything that is doing you negative harm at that moment.
And that's crazy. You should bring that up like that. Did you ever play like that? It was like some kind of something like this as a kid, and then you go back, and then they like pinch your hand and like pull it.
Well,
so
like, what? Yeah, I think I've seen
they do it somehow like that, and then like you can feel a tug.
Oh yeah.
On your aura.
Yeah.
Like as you pull it down, and that right there is basically Reiki.
Yeah.
Is the manipulation of the auric and etheric fields.
That looked like that's what that lady was doing.
Of the body.
It looked pretty intense. Like, people were like,
I've had sessions done.
Yeah.
Like, and it's rather pleasing, man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Nice.
That's really cool. Like I said, I think you can take away, and I mean, this is just my personal experience during meditation. If you go into a meditative state, and you order everything that is doing you negative harm, doing your family negative harm, anything attached to you, and you make a motion, I think is important. And then when I finish with this motion, whether it be holding your hands together, closing your hands, whatever, then you will be gone. You will go from me to judgment, or where you came. You won't attach to me or my family, etc., etc. And then you let go. And what you're doing, and we find this a lot in research, is these entities that do attach to people, they don't have rights to do that. So you'll even hear, like, in oppression and like darker stuff, you don't have legal binding right to. I didn't agree to let you in.
Yeah, you can't have this soul.
Yeah, so you have power over your duality of being, even though you are flesh and soul. You still have sovereign right over all of that.
Remember that's the temple.
Yeah, that's the temple. So you have your temple, and if you want something to be removed, you order it to be removed, and it will be. I believe. I mean, that's how it's worked for me. I mean, that type of meditation has cut nervousness down. You feel better. You feel lighter. You feel freer. So, whether it works or not, whether it's a placebo or not, I don't know. But I feel like it works, and I feel like.
Well, placebo just goes to show you that like your mind is capable of so much more than we allow it and believe it to be.
Right, and I mean it is, and I mean there's that video. I'm sure you've probably seen it. It's like this documentary from the 90s maybe, and this guy was allowed to film some like chi master or something, and this guy was like flexing his arms towards a piece of crumbled up paper on the ground, and he just kept flexing his hand on this, focusing his chi, and he lights the paper on fire with chi, like right in front of the camera, like you can see it smoking, just doing this with his hand. I mean, that is firm, legitimate. That looked pretty legit as some chi energy work. So our bodies are capable. I mean, there's plenty of.
We are nuclear reactors.
Yeah, we're like insane beings, and to that fact, women are even more insane.
Yes.
I mean, they're literally portals to the other world. Yeah. And on a side note, I know we can agree on this. Women in today's society they have forgotten that, or they're not told that, and they're not led to believe that.
I think the degradation of women was like deliberate.
Oh yeah.
Because remember the suppression of the female energy, like both figuratively and literally. Like we've lost that connection to the right brain. And remember, like I can't remember the symbolism in the Bible about sitting at the right hand of God. The right hand of God.
We're dealing with the metaphors.
Pineal gland. Yeah. And then to the right is the right hemisphere of the brain, which is associated with the feminine energy.
Well, see, again, that takes us back to the Bible as a metaphor for the human. I don't know.
The human evolution.
Yeah, I mean, because again, if where you contact the Lord was encased in acacia, I mean that's a symbol for your mind,
the Holy of Holies is your head.
Yeah, you got to protect, all this that's in there. So I mean,
was it the cherub? It's like there's like two cherubs and then the box.
Yeah.
Well, if your brain, if you look at it at a certain angle, it literally looks like two cherubs.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing with like the Kundalini, and the spinal cord is the caduceus staff, and the snakes the twirling snakes could possibly be DNA strands. I mean, there's so much, and there's you'll see a lot of pine cones used as symbology throughout history. Even Hitler in his occult World War II stuff, he had pine cone symbology for his for the pineal gland.
Now, what exactly did he have to do with the Thule Society?
So the Thule Society, I believe, was something that was created, obviously, by him and one of the generals, and they were basically. Don't quote me on this. I should know more about this because it's very interesting. But it's basically just an occult. They wanted to find the occult stuff and look into things of that nature. Like ancient occult stuff. I know.
Yeah, and it's named after a mythical northern country in Greek legend.
That makes sense. A lot of his stuff was like northern Germanic and Vedic and a whole bunch of other stuff. It was such an amalgamation. I mean, even the swastika, which he reversed, is an ancient symbol.
Yeah, the original was for peace.
Right.
Then they inverted it to make it war. It's all symbolism.
Yeah.
And see, and it was made by Hitler. Yeah.
But and they went and I mean, there's no telling what they did. They could still be in Antarctica. I know that Nazis ran I firmly believe they probably ran to Antarctica, but they also definitely ran to South America and continued some stuff.
Yeah, there's like a whole colony in Argentina.
Yeah, it's
Like,
completely
literally.
German.
Yeah, completely German. In the
Yeah.
middle of Argentina.
Yeah,
That's
later
what's
Hosen,
crazy. Love it.
Bratwurst.
It's like you had me at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to the human consciousness, and the fact that we are all conscious, but yet we have no idea what we are, I think is pretty mind blowing.
Okay, I've heard the term "we are gods with amnesia."
Mm. Well, I mean, we do have, and there's a lot of sleeping gods, like kind of stuff that's
The dumb god. The
yeah.
sleeping dumb god.
We definitely could be. We could just be a species of creature that has evolved. I mean, we could be nothing more than that. But
I mean, in my experiences, like through my various shamanic DMT trips I've had, we're basically, from what I gathered, God playing peekaboo with himself.
So we're all a form of the same consciousness looking at itself.
Through my lens, I'm looking at you, which was like
Another part of yourself,
but part of myself playing with me.
Yeah.
I'm over here like playing puppets right now.
Right. Well, I mean, there is that theory that everyone, because outside of time and space, that everyone on Earth is the same being, just reincarnated at different times. I don't think that's true. I think that was a little bit of a far-fetched effort, but I think there's definitely truth in that we are entangled. And we have been since whatever this whole thing is created, whether it just be we are part of a consciousness, or if we're, on a ball floating through space, yada, yada, yada. There's some kind of connecting thread between all of humanity.
Right. No, and to touch on the floating in space thing, I think, okay, it very well may be, but this is what's going to blow your mind. You know how they invert everything? And they call it, we're floating in outer space. No, we're floating in inner space. Inner space. Creation of the mind.
So, what do you think? What do you think that means? Like, are we a construct of our own consciousness?
I mean, like you say, you were a prisoner of our own perspective. How deep is that, though? I mean, because if you think, therefore you are, and you close your eyes, everything goes dark. It's like you're in outer space, but really you're in inner space. And when they invert the idea of everything, inner space, to keep you from looking in, they keep you focusing out.
Yeah. Again, well, that could be very true, and that could be a part of the social engineering and construct and stuff. Like, I thought of a term the other day. What do you believe in? What do I believe in? I believe in, like, inward, and I'm like, that's kind of an interesting phrase. What do you believe in? It's not what do you believe out or what do you believe of. It's what do you believe in. Isn't that weird? How the words just kind of work their way like that?
Oh yeah. And again, with these synchronicities and spelling built into the very irony of the whole situation.
Yeah. Keep talking.
And here we are. We're like, we're the newscasters of our own TV show.
That just got me.
Look, we're over here playing Anchorman.
Yeah,
Oh man, good times, man. So we're over here eating our perpetual stew, as we call it, with the trail mix.
The perpetual trail
definitely
mix.
Get you a little bowl and keep filling it up with various things.
It's the natural way to be. It's like a foraging thing. So, this is way off topic, but perpetual stew is this thing that they used to do in medieval times, where you would basically put a pot over a fire, and just whatever you could bring in for the day, vegetables, meat, whatever, you just add to it. So we basically did the same thing with just Chex Mix and Trail Mix. So every now and then we just keep adding random stuff.
I'll do. Great idea.
It's a great idea. It's good for the podcasting, good for game nights, that kind of stuff. So, all right, what are we at? We're about 45 minutes again already. Just on this one.
Well, this was a good one, man.
This was a good one. I think it's an important topic, and this is part 2. We're probably gonna have to. I'll probably have to do part 3 of the awakening. I mean, there's more to get to, but for right now, we'll call it on this one at 45 minutes. So. Appreciate you, everybody, for listening and for stopping in with us today. Hope you gained something from this. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share our stuff. We're definitely working on getting more videos or more podcasts out. Check us out on Facebook. All that good stuff. Check out all of our Last Wave stuff. We've got Last Wave Collectibles. Obviously, the Last Wave Podcast. We got the blog. We got a whole bunch of stuff. So, check us out everywhere. Keep an eye out for us on Facebook. And again, thanks for listening. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.